Quick announcement before we get started. Our landlord has decided to not renew the lease, so we're selling a bunch of manga and magic cards over on eBay. Link down below to help support my family and get us into a new place. Prices are reasonable, unless you want to be generous, of course. Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by longtime Patreon supporter Roxy. Huge thanks to Roxy and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Roxy reached out asking for a deck led by the Gitrog Ravenous Ride, but left the theme up to me. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. The Gitrog Ravenous Ride is a 5-mana 6/5 legendary frog horror mount with Trample, Haste, and Saddle 1. Saddle is a new mechanic from Outlaws of Thunder Junction that is similar to crewing. The difference is you can still attack with a mount creature even if you don't activate the saddle ability. But if we do saddle the frog, after he deals combat damage to a player, we may sacrifice the creature that rode us. If we do, we draw X cards, then put up to X land cards from our hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X was the sacrificed creature's power. Okay, so it looks like Thalia was the only one who could ride the Gitrog monster and live. And I figured that our monstrous frog was tired of eating Phyrexians, so I wanted to feed him something delicious. Maybe some dry-aged meat? But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, Temu. I'm sure you've already heard of Temu, but maybe you haven't ordered from them yet. If not, don't worry. They are not as bad as Wish.com. I've ordered plenty of things from them over the last few years and haven't had a bad experience. If you're wanting unique products for very cheap and to help support this channel, click the link down below. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Oh, one more quick announcement before we get started. I'm going to be streaming on Musings by Danon as well as Twitch. It'll mostly be Final Fantasy XIV, but you're more than welcome to pop in and talk about Commander. Honestly, about half my streams are spent talking about manga, anime, or Commander. Our land base consists of Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Field of the Dead, Verdant Catacombs, Marsh Flats, Misty Rainforest, Bloodstained Mire, Windswept Heath, Overgrown Tomb, Undergrowth Stadium, Deathcap Glade, Woodland Cemetery, Underground Mortuary, Woodland Chasm, Haunted Mire, Tainted Wood, Viridescent Bog, Twilight Mire, Llanowar Wastes, Darkboar Pathway, Necroblossom Snarl, Golgari Rot Farm, Bajuka Bog, 3 swamps, 4 snow-covered swamps, 3 forests, and 3 snow-covered forests. I like to split my basics between snow-covered and non-snow-covered when I'm running Field of the Dead in a 2-color deck. To ramp out, we're running White of the Reliquary, Llanowar Dead, Rampant Growth, Nature's Lore, Farseek, 3 Visits, Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, Skyshroud Claim, Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Solemn Simulacrum, Crucible of Worlds, and Conduit of Worlds. Good mix of land ramp, some rocks, and the ability to replay lands that will wind up in the graveyard. Our card advantage package consists of Liliana Dreadhorde General, Undead Augur, Cryptbreaker, Cemetery Recruitment, Underrealm Lich, Demonic Tutor, Read the Bones, Night's Whisper, Sign in Blood, Sylvan Library, Vanquisher's Banner, and Archdruid's Charm. A good mix of card advantage, tutors, and graveyard recursion. For spot removal and interaction, we've got Assassin's Trophy, Ravenous Rotbelly, Never Return, Glissa Sunslayer, Putrefy, Fleshbag Marauder, Abrupt Decay, Beast Within, Return to Nature, and Rise of the Witch King. To reset the board, we've got Necrotic Hex and Toxic Deluge. I know that Necrotic Hex isn't always a board wipe, but how often do you see your opponents with more than 6 creatures? The core of our deck consists of Dreadhorde Invasion, Army of the Damned, Dark Salvation, Ghoulcaller Gisa, Endless Ranks of the Dead, Headless Rider, Champion of the Perished, Rise of the Dread Marn, Curse of Disturbance, Grave Betrayal, Tormod the Desecrator, Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Coat of Arms, Zombie Apocalypse, Death Baron, Lord of the Accursed, Undead Warchief, Liliana's Mastery, Lord of the Undead, Zombie Master, Liliana's Devotee, Gisa the Hellraiser, Risen Executioner, Cemetery Reaper, and Micaeus the Unhallowed. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 50 mana sources split between 36 lands and 14 pieces of ramp, right on target. 13 pieces of card advantage, counting our commander. 10 pieces of interaction, 2 board wipes, 3 pieces of graveyard hate in Never Return, Return to Nature, and Bojuka Bog, 1 sudden I win card in Coat of Arms. The point of this deck isn't to build an army of zombies. Rather, our deck's focus is on making just a few zombies as big as possible. However, we do have a few cards that make lots and lots of zombies, so if we find ourselves in a situation where we have 10 or so zombie tokens, we can just slam Coat of Arms and overwhelm our opponents. Oftentimes, when I build a zombie deck, I want to make sure I have as many creatures as possible. This way, we can overwhelm our opponents with an enormous army of the dead. But for this deck, with this commander, we want to have large creatures. So this is more of a go tall zombie deck than a go wide zombie deck. Of course, we do have a couple ways to build a giant army of zombies if we need to. Commander is an unpredictable format, so you never know when having 13 zombies on board could come in handy. Now, I know a lot of people are building this as a Ravenous Rats deck, and that is a perfectly valid way to build this deck. I also thought it would be fun to build it as a Saproling deck. Maybe the Gitrog a frog likes mushrooms. But I decided to go with zombies, because who doesn't love zombies? Are you building the Gitrog Ravenous Ride? What direction will you take the deck? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Sean, Mark, Borky, Nazwin, Midge, Alex, Alex, Conga, Aaron, Chris, Robert, Michael, Skinwalker, Sidewinder, Austin, William, Dan, Pi, Dead Segway, Turner, and Triz. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.